This is CBC Here and Now.
So if I was to end up having something happen next week and go off, I don't have enough hours for maternity leave right now.
Having a baby during the pandemic and the uncertainty around maternity leave.
Two West Coast men are walking from Deer Lake all the way to Corner Brook tomorrow. That's 50 kilometers in a heat wave.
There are lots of brooks along the way that we'll just, dip ourselves into.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about these very brave walkers.
Welcome to Here and Now. I'm Peter Cowan. As if this year hasn't been chaotic enough, imagine what it's like for those expecting a child. Tonight, one expectant mother's maternity leave is in question as she grapples with guidelines that were put in place long before the pandemic. Here Now's Andrew Hawthorne has our top story.
It's been a year of uncertainty, but for many, like expecting mother Samantha McLennan, the stress of the pandemic is only the beginning. McLennan is in her third trimester, expecting her second child in October. But due to the COVID-19 shutdown, she fears she won't have enough hours to qualify for employment insurance maternity leave benefits.
Even if you had preterm labor or if you were taken off work due to your doctor for like sick leave or anything before you have your baby, you still need to have those 600 hours. So if I was to end up having something happen next week and go off, I don't have enough hours for maternity leave right now.
A woman has to have worked at least 600 hours in the last 12 months prior to her leave to qualify. But those rules were written long before COVID-19.
I know there's some people at home that have already had their kids and they are sitting at home now not getting any income. And I mean, you can't go back to work with like a 3-week-old baby or a 3-month-old baby. You can't get childcare for children that young.
As an esthetician working at a salon, many of the services McLennan offers are only just starting to come back after the shutdown, following public safety guidelines. Even now, she says wary customers have not yet returned, but she's far from alone.
Just hopefully they'll come up with something sooner than later, because, I mean, telling someone to wait and see how it goes is a little bit stressful. I mean, here I am, I'm 8 months pregnant now, and, like, this is a stressful time as it is, and then to be worrying if I'm going to be able to financially help my family when I have my baby is not what I want, really, or for anyone else for that matter.
At the start of the pandemic, Canada's EI system was suspended and replaced by Canada Emergency Response Benefits. Carla Qualtrough, Minister of Employment, Workforce Development and Disability Inclusion, has said employment insurance will be made available to new moms despite the pandemic. But the details are still slim, and McLennan's son isn't going to wait.
We're supposed to be raising our kids. Like, you know, the first year is the most important year of their life. Like, you're trying to build relationships and teach them whatever, and I mean, you need to have that time with them.
Andrew Hawthorne, CBC News, St. John's.
A general strike happening at the Port of Montreal has one big exception. It won't affect freight bound for Newfoundland and Labrador. Longshore workers walked off the job yesterday morning at the second largest port in Canada. They're protesting 2 years without a collective agreement. The strikers have assured that 2 OceanX vessels will be still allowed to operate its run between St. John's and Montreal. That's good news for OceanX, which says it's been struggling since the pandemic began. And speaking of protests, still no word on Blanc-Sablon. This is what the ferry terminal looked like about a month ago. Residents of Quebec's lower North Shore communities protested for 2 days at the dock, holding up passenger travel between Newfoundland and Labrador. Blanc-Sablon is a remote community. They've got about 1,100 people. There have been no cases of COVID. Residents there are allowed to travel to southern Labrador, but can't go to the island without permission. 3 weeks ago, they stopped protesting and put in a formal request to be exempt from having to isolate when they arrive in Newfoundland. Residents say Blanc-Sablon has a special relationship with the island, but they haven't heard back from the province.
This is going to destroy feelings for years and years to come. And we have not been like the rest of the province. You know, I know that there's COVID cases in Montreal. There's been COVID cases in St. John's. But the regions have been very fortunate, and it's downright insulting, to be honest with you.
What's the province saying? Well, right now it says their request is still under review. Well, speaking of travel and bans, lawyers pushing back against the province's travel ban gave their closing arguments today. They're saying the policy is arbitrary and violates the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Here and Now's Heather Gillis was in Provincial Supreme Court today.
Today, during closing arguments at Newfoundland and Labrador Supreme Court, John Drover, the lawyer representing Kim Taylor, argued every Canadian citizen has the right to enter, remain in, and leave Canada, a right he believes also applies to the provinces. His client is challenging the province's travel ban. Taylor lives in Halifax. She was denied entry into St. John's following her mother's death in May. Her lawyer says the ban discriminates against people based on their province of residence. Drover said, quote, "We have put up international borders without the right to do so," end quote, calling the ban over the top. Rosellen Sullivan, a lawyer for the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, says Kim Taylor had a rock-solid isolation plan. Sullivan argued that while the ban aims to minimize serious illness and death, it was instituted 7 weeks after the pandemic started, when a large number of cases related to the calls cluster had already been resolved. She said the federal government has the power to close borders under the Emergencies Act, not the province. Sullivan also calls exemptions to the ban arbitrary, as she says more than 13,000 people have been granted exemptions. Meanwhile, Justin Meller, one of 3 lawyers for the province, says exemptions make the travel ban constitutionally sound, and he argues that public health is under the province's jurisdiction. He says the purpose of the special measures order that created the travel ban was to mitigate and prevent the spread of COVID-19. When it comes to mobility rights in the Charter, he believes people are allowed to move and take up residence in the province, but argued they can't visit. He said the calls cluster of COVID-19 was travel-related and that doctors who testified in court, like Janice Fitzgerald and Pro Tom Rahman, offered evidence in support of the travel ban. Kim Taylor's lawyer said he's appalled to hear government argue Canadians have no right to freely travel through the country. Closing arguments resume tomorrow morning. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
To the West Coast now, where 2 men in their 70s are about to take on one amazing feat, walking from Deer Lake to Corner Brook during this heat wave. That's more than 50 kilometers. It's all for a good cause, providing comfort to couples during a very difficult time. Here now's Colleen Connors has that story.
This little jaunt down the street is nothing for fitness experts Kevin Garnier and David Shepard. They've been punching the kilometers while training for their big 50K.
8, 10, or 16K, just, once a week is 16 kilometers. And Kev's been walking too, but lately, in the past month, we've walked from Deer Lake to Pasadena. And we've done a couple of weeks ago from Steady Brook to Pasadena.
Steady Brook to Pasadena.
So
we've done a couple of mountain ranges, 16K.
How are the bodies feeling?
Terrible.
Yeah, like
Sore
like
feet,
a
sore
70
hips?
plus would
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
hurting?
My feet.
His feet, my hips.
Well, sore joints and all, these two will start the trek in Deer Lake at 5:30 a.m. and walk along the Trans-Canada Highway, hoping to finish in Corner Brook by supper time. That's a good 12 hours of walking, all to raise money for a cuddle bed for the palliative care unit at the Corner Brook Hospital.
A double-sized bed where, spouses or partners can, rest or lie down with their partner in it and just feel more comfortable, right?
Donations piled in, and they had to up their goal to $20,000.
It'll be a hot day tomorrow, so if they throw us a bottle of water, have a $20 bill attached to that.
There's no doubt that Garnier and Shepard have been training for this, walking 2 and 3 long-distance walks every week leading up to the big one tomorrow. But neither one of them could ever have predicted that the weather would be so hot. With a heat warning in place, and the temperature will be around 27 degrees tomorrow and feel a lot more like 35.
It looks like it's going to be cloudy with a 60% chance of rain, so
That's going to help us, I think.
Gonna
Yeah,
help,
it's going to.
So the cloud will keep it.
At least some dampness will cool us down a bit,
Yeah. There are lots of brooks along the way that we'll just, dip ourselves into,
Yeah.
and we have family members as support along the route, so they'll have lots of cold water for us, sports drinks, and even ice cold towels.
If the heat is too much, both men say they will stop at the halfway mark. They've done this 50K walk in past years and spent many hours together training.
Well, we're running out of things to say to each other.
yeah. But, you know, we start out, usually it's a brief conversation, then we'll both put on the music and listen to the music.
If you see them tomorrow on the West Coast, be sure to honk, hand over some ice water and a donation, and wish them well on their 12-hour journey. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Pasadena.
It's a return to a simpler time at Pinkston's Forge in Brigus. A 22-year-old is turning one of the last surviving forges on the island into a viable business. During the pandemic, it's been a popular stop for staycationers. Freelancers Rodrigo Iniguez and Connor McCann take us there in their latest feature for Here and Now called Forging Forward.
Doing the leaves probably took me the longest time to just get a handle on. I really enjoy doing them now. They're one of my favorite ways to decorate pieces, but the biggest thing is making the stem of the leaf. It's a very small piece, and you need to get it so that it's a very high temperature when you're doing it, otherwise it'll crack, and if it cracks, then you'll wind up with, you know, a lot of hooks that have little stems with no leaves on the other end of it. This forge was built in 1889 by John Charles Pinkston, and that's when the Pinkston family started being the blacksmiths around here. Most of what we do on the run of the day is, you know, again, it's kind of like a half historical, half production. So, you know, we'll get people walking in off the street and, you know, we'll tell them the history about it. And in the meantime, you know, if they're more interested about what we're doing, we'll talk about, you know, the temperatures of steel that we get up to, what I'm actually, you know, how I'm forming the piece that I'm working on at the moment, and just kind of run them through the whole process. Most of what you see in here is original. I mean, like I said, the floorboards, all these tools that you see behind me, everything that you see made over in that corner. Let's go right there. So I started out as the assistant here, funny enough. So I was in John's boat there. I'm from the town, and there was an email that got sent out, and they were looking for an assistant blacksmith. Originally, I thought it was an acting gig where, you know, you'd throw on an apron and just do the interpreter side of it, and I didn't think we actually had a functioning forge. But by the time that I did the interview, they asked me if I was okay with getting burned every once in a while. So that was, you know, my introduction to it. John Bungie was our first blacksmith that we had here, and he was the one that trained me initially. In a couple weeks, I could do a bottle opener. By the end of the year, I could do a really shoddy coat rack. But that's where I got my start out. And then the following year, John actually ended up getting married and having a kid on the way. So he got a job offer in Toronto, ended up scooting off there and starting up that, and left me as really the only one around here that had forging experience. So I ended up lucking my way into the job of head smith. So yeah. Yeah, so most of what we do is kind of catering towards more tourists items, you know, doing like bottle openers and coat hooks. We also do like milk punches, just stuff that you can kind of pop in your pocket and head out the door with, right? But on top of that, we also do a large number of custom orders. I've had a gentleman up the road who had his tractor that was broken down, had a piece on it that he couldn't find anywhere, so I ended up making him a new one for him. There was one time that we had a client, it was a couple, and it was their anniversary, and they were looking to have a coat rack, but they wanted it to look like a fish. So we made it look like a fish form, right? You know, so it's pretty much anything under the sun. I have one client that might be interested in having a giant squid on the side of his shed. So, you know, it can get pretty fancy, pretty quick, but, you know, that's the kind of work that I love doing, and that's, you know, that's what keeps this job interesting, right? Hey folks, you're in for a treat. We're gonna be doing some oiling on a fire poker I just did. It's probably gonna catch ire, so, you know, it'll be nice to watch. No. Yeah, normally you don't do this at this high temperatures, right around here is where you want to do it. This is around, I'd say 500 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit, but right around here is where it's at 700, which is why it's flaming up. But there we go. The whole movement, well, I'm not sure if you'd call it a movement, but people looking to explore Newfoundland a little bit more has definitely affected us in a really positive light. We get a lot of people from town. We've had 4 groups 2 days ago coming from Corner Brook. We're getting a lot of people from Gander too. You know, it's I'd say we're probably getting twice as many people from Newfoundland as we have been in the past, especially on nice days out in Brigus. It's a really nice town to walk around. You know, you can keep your distance pretty easily, and we keep everything sanitized in here so that people can walk in. We do one bubble at a time, so you know, Brigus is a pretty high traffic area whenever it's nice out, so we get a lot of people coming in curious about why the anvil's ringing and why the fire's going, right? So, yeah.
Well, the heat continues tomorrow, but things start to get a little bit more unsettled as we head towards midweek and even into the weekend, and then we start to see a wind shift. I'll tell you what that means and have your full forecast coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. This year, it's Stay Home Year, the year to rediscover home.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Ashley, I think the heat is starting to get to some people. I'm hearing a lot more people complain just about how hot it is, especially at night, trying to lie in bed and sleep with the sheets clinging to you and the house still hot. So how's it looking?
Yeah, we can't complain about the weather, especially when it comes to the heat, because we get so few days like this across the board. Yes, another warm afternoon today. Let's take a look at those temperatures. We've got 26 degrees in St. John's, 29 in Terra Nova, and then as we head towards central and the west coast, that's where we've got all that heat. So 30, 31 degrees in Corner Brook. The hot spot was Happy Valley Goose Bay at 33 degrees, and then Nain, you did break a record. Didn't quite get to the 30-degree mark, but you broke a record at 28 degrees and still sitting there. Beautiful evening so far, and with that humidex feeling closer to the mid to high 30s for the majority of the island and even up through Labrador. Happy Valley Goose Bay feeling more like 37 with that humidex. So no surprise that those heat warnings are still very much in place, and they should continue for most areas as we head through the day on Thursday. But with the lack of rain and these warm temperatures, the fire hazard is from high to extreme. So do be mindful and make sure that if you are having any fires that you completely extinguish them before you leave them, because at this point it certainly doesn't take much. Taking a look at the current weather systems and satellite, we see lots of fog along the south coast and in through the straits as well. And if I zoom in for Labrador, you can see some of that convective cloud there. That is some thunderstorms, and as we head through the night tonight, we're going to see the shower activity make its way towards the interior and the mid portion of, or mid coast rather, for Labrador, and then a little bit unsettled as well for the west coast. We're looking at the potential for some showers moving through, and then same along the south coast with that fog because of that onshore flow continuing, and then some more showers expected by morning. But it is a beautiful night to check out the meteor shower. It actually peaks tonight and overnight into the early morning hours tomorrow morning. Could see anywhere from 60 to 100 meteors an hour. However, it is going to be a fairly bright moon, so that might bring those numbers down. But if you do look in the north sky tonight, you'll certainly see lots of shooting stars, and it'll be a beautiful night for that, with temperatures in the teens and 20-degree mark overnight, with those winds anywhere from 10 to as much as 20 kilometers per hour for the majority of the province, and a warm night for Happy Valley Goose Bay as well, 20 degrees Nain. You're going to go down to 14 under partly cloudy skies. Now, tomorrow will be a little bit unsettled across the island, mainly for the west and south coast, eastern portions. You're looking at a beautiful day. And then some more showers moving through Labrador as well, certainly for southeastern portions, and even the risk of some thunderstorms as well. So that's where, in that yellow there is where I have the risk for some thunderstorms either in the morning or the afternoon, as those showers will roll through. But again, that heat and humidity sticking right with us, 27 to 30 degrees. Those winds a little breezy out of the southwest, 30 to 40 kilometers per hour. And again, along the south coast, looking a little bit more unsettled with some more cloud cover and fog possible for you. And then temperatures a little bit nicer, or at least more comfortable for Nain, 20 degrees, 27 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. And Lab City, you'll see a high near 23 degrees. As we head into Thursday and Friday, this is when we'll start to see a lot more unsettled weather with the potential for some showers and maybe even some thunderstorms. Then a ridge of high pressure will move in, and that will clear things out through the day on Friday up through the Big Land. But we are going to see a drop in temperatures for you on Thursday as that rain moves through. Heat will stick around for the island, again, though, with that chance of showers. And then we see the cool down, and that's because of a wind shift. Things will start to get a little bit more onshore with that northerly wind. So temperatures will drop a little bit more seasonal and cooler, but plenty of sunshine up through Labrador. 15 to 19 degrees is your day highs. Now, these cooler temperatures will stick around through Saturday, and then we're back up to the 20-degree range by Sunday, looking at about 22 degrees with some sunshine. And then comfortable weekend. Looks at this point like sunshine for both western and central Newfoundland. And as that ridge of high pressure starts to dominate for the Big Land, we are looking at much warmer temperatures. So you're looking at anywhere from the mid to high 20s through the day on Looks like I skipped ahead too much in my graphics. I lost my graphics, but I will share the weather photo that I have with you when I come back.
Thank you very much, Ashley. We'll wait for that weather photo a little later in the show. While Brian Cook caught more than his boatload of cod this weekend, he snagged some spectacular whale shots while fishing in Open Hall in Bonavista Bay. Cook was close enough to feel the splash from the first breach and lucky enough to see a second. Have a look.
We started our morning off like whales all around. It was like I took video right off the bat. As soon as we left the stage, the fishing stage, there was like 7 whales like right there in the cove. They were just kind of blowing at the time and not really doing anything much other than that, surfacing and stuff. We happened to notice this whale just kind of laying there on the water, and it was there for a long period of time. So we thought, okay, well, there's something going on there. After a few minutes, I decided to start filming to see, like what was going to happen. And sure enough, I was lucky enough to catch some pretty exciting footage. He just came right up and right alongside of our boat and done a breach like within, I'm thinking probably 15 feet at the most, I'm thinking. But I got such a fright, I stopped filming at the time, and because I was thinking, okay, we got to get out of here because this is not good. There was a few words said that probably wouldn't be said on the news or whatever, but yeah, it was just, we were, like, it was 3 of us in the boat, myself, Steve, and Claudette, and the 3 of us were just in complete awe. Steve has been living there, he lived there for 20 years of his life, and been going out there every year for the past, ever since, like every summer pretty much, and he's never witnessed anything like this ever. My heart came up in my throat, and the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I got goosebumps, and it was just such a fright, but at the same time it was excitement, like I was a little scared, but I was excited at the same time that we actually just got to see what we did, and it was phenomenal.
He's coming again. Watch. Get it up. Oh, I just got that on video.
And when I realized he was moving away from us, I decided to start filming again and caught the second breach.
Oh my God. There he is. Well, oh my mercy's heart. In heaven today. Never, ever, ever have I seen anything like it.
They're giants of the sea, and I have to respect them a little more now that I've actually witnessed like how close they come, how close they can come to you.
Well, my heart is pounding.
You got to respect that. You got to keep your distance from them and realize that, what, they can move quite quickly too, although they're huge. I mean, obviously, like so powerful that you can see in the video how quickly they can come up out of the water, and you don't know if they are. How close they are to you either, right? So I have a lot more respect for them now, and it's a learning experience as well. I think the next time I'm in that situation, if I ever have an opportunity to be in that situation, I think I'll keep my distance a little bit.
We saw COVID as an opportunity to really put into practice something that we've been talking about since we started.
One St. John's restaurant is doing away with tipping, instead paying employees a living wage. We'll talk to Todd Perrin after the break. Welcome back to Here and Now. COVID has changed a lot of things about the restaurant industry, but here at Mallard Cottage, it's not just the physical distancing, they've changed the way they're doing business. That means tipping is no longer required. Todd Perrin runs Mallard Cottage, and he's with me. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Why did you decide to go with no tipping as a model?
You know, appropriate pricing is something that we kind of been talking about since we started. When we opened a restaurant 7-8 years ago, it was really the direction that we wanted to go. But at the time, we kind of got cold feet and felt that it was, you know, it was too far outside the box. It was going to be too hard for the customers to accept, and for the people who work in the restaurant, it was too big a change. So we kind of pulled back from that original idea. But we saw COVID as an opportunity to really put into practice something that we've been talking about since we started.
What's the reaction been from people at the restaurant to the new prices?
I mean, I think we've had mostly positive, you know, in the sense that people appreciate and understand what we're trying to do. So, you know, the prices on the menu are higher than they would have been before. But, you know, if people think about the entirety of the transaction, by the time they put on their 15-20% gratuity at the end and whatnot, you know, what their ultimate bill would have been and is not that different, really, assuming that you're an average tipper.
So how much more expensive are things on average?
Well, I mean, you know, the prices would have been, you know, we probably raised our prices, I don't know, maybe 10% plus then, you know, an average of 15 that would have taken in the gratuity. So something that would have been on our menu at $20, you know, a few months ago, probably right now is like $23 or $24 in that, you know, in that ballpark. Basically, we're trying to professionalize what we do, and trying to pay people professional wages that work in a professional environment and deliver professional service. And having such a big part of their wage be reliant on the whim of a customer is not something I was prepared to do for, you know, anymore.
What difference has it meant for staff? Because normally there's a fair amount of inequality. The people who are serving the food are getting big tips. The people who are working back in the kitchen may not see very much of that.
Well, we completely level the playing field here. So we're, you know, the whole idea of a restaurant is, you know, the better your team, the better your restaurant. No one in this restaurant is more important than the next person. So the person who washes dishes and takes the garbage out, without that person, the restaurant doesn't work, just the same as it doesn't work if you don't have the person who's bringing in your coffee or your tea. So we've leveled the playing field. Everybody here, basically, with one or two very small exceptions, gets paid the same. And the idea is that, you know, the overall working environment, the consistency of your wage, is what we offer. And if somebody feels like they can make $100 more somewhere else, then they have the option to go do that.
What's the reaction been from customers?
For the most part, I'd say positive. You know, we've had a few people who were, you know, concerned about how much the prices have raised and whatnot. But, you know, again, in restaurant business, people vote with their feet, and ultimately the customers decide if it's a sustainable model or not. I can have all of the desires and the, you know, the pipe dreams of creating the environment that I want to create, but if the customers don't come, then it's all going to go up in smoke anyway. So, you know, again, COVID was the opportunity. Look, we're all at risk in COVID. COVID is a dangerous business environment, just as is a health environment. So we thought, you know what, if we got the chance to go down in flames, we may as well go out with our boots on doing what we want to do. And that's really the motivation. So, you know, so far so good. You know, if it can't work for whatever reason, be it, you know, customers won't support it, or, you know, the prices are too high for people to appreciate, or, you know, if we just can't make it go, then we'll look at changing. We look at changing every day, but you know, I don't want to run a restaurant where people don't get paid a living wage. I don't want to run a restaurant where people don't know how much they're going to get paid week to week. You know, I mean, ultimately we want to create an environment where people feel like they have a job to go to that pays them a certain amount of money, where they have a certain amount of job security and they have a certain amount of understanding what they expect. And that's what we want to bring to the restaurant industry.
Well, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Well, a warm, sunny day in St. John's. Another one in store for tomorrow. And a reminder, get your birthdays and anniversary greetings into us soon. There's a change this week. We're showcasing them on Thursday. So remember, send them in now. Welcome back to Here and Now. Premier-designate Andrew Furey is making his pitch on why the federal government needs to help the province with its financial problems. Furey spoke with the CBC's David Cochrane today, who's guest hosting Power and Politics on CBC News Network. David asked what help Furey is looking for from Ottawa and what happens if Ottawa says no.
You've got to work with the federal government. Does Newfoundland and Labrador need a bailout from Ottawa?
I don't like using the words bailout. I mean, we're part of a federation. I believe in Canada. I believe that Newfoundland and Labrador has a strong place in Canada. We've contributed to the Canadian Federation fiscally. We still do because of the equalization formula. We've contributed culturally, and now we're in a place and time where we need some assistance to help us in the short term so that we can make the decisions that we need to make structurally with respect to our financial situation so that we can create the long-term vision of a more diversified economy for a sustainable Newfoundland and Labrador.
But it's the highest per capita debt in the country, or amongst the highest per capita debt in the country, and several of the core industries, fishery and oil in particular, and mineral deposits in places like Labrador are being hindered right now by the economic state. I mean, does the province have the means to solve this by itself, or is it absolutely dependent on help from the federal government?
I mean, there's things we can do structurally internally, but when you're facing prior to the COVID pandemic and the public health-induced economic crisis. I mean, of course, we're a commodity-based economy that has had massive swings with respect to the price of oil and gas, and of course, the pandemic has hurt our minerals and generating our GDP based on that. So, I mean, you know, there's things we can do internally, structurally, in the medium term. But again, we need to talk to the federal government about how to unlock value for us in the short term, so that we're able to do that. I mean, we're in a place right now where frankly we need some assistance, and we're going to need to work collaboratively with our federal partners to unlock value for Newfoundland and Labrador.
So what are the consequences, though, if Ottawa doesn't help? What if you can't get a new arrangement with the federal government?
Well, you know, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that we can work together to find a sustainable solution for Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm quite confident in that. I don't like to lose sight of the fact that although, you know, we're in a tough fiscal spot globally, we can't lose sight of the fact that there is this global economic crisis. And so, you know, can't lose sight of the framework and the backdrop that Newfoundland and Labrador finds itself in right now. And I think we're very lucky to be a part of a G7 country of Canada, and I think that we need to make sure that we're using that relationship to get the ship into a safe harbor so that we can make the repairs that we need to make in order to keep her afloat.
Well, to American politics now. Just moments ago, Joe Biden announced his running mate for November's U.S. presidential election, and it's Kamala Harris. Harris is a U.S. Senator, first elected in 2016 representing California. Before that, she was the state's Attorney General and a district attorney in San Francisco. Harris ran against Joe Biden in the Democratic primaries and clashed with him in a few of the debates last year. But since dropping out of the race, she has appeared with him at a few online fundraisers. Harris has a Canadian connection as well. She went to high school in Montreal. Well, Russia is the first country in the world to approve a coronavirus vaccine. The government has given the go-ahead despite not putting the drug through final stage testing. Russian President Vladimir Putin insists the vaccine is safe, saying one of his daughters has been given it. Dubbed the Sputnik vaccine, mass inoculations could begin as early as October. But there are questions over how quickly the vaccine was developed. Human testing began mid-June on just 76 volunteers, rather than the usual thousands. Both Russian and international researchers are skeptical that it works.
We can't comment on the approval process for the Russian vaccine. Certainly in Canada, Health Canada is the regulatory authority and has solid processes, regimes in place so that before Health Canada approves a vaccine in any way, they will look at all the data that is produced through these phase 1 to 3 trials and the system is, has been in place for a long time.
And that's Canada's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Theresa Tam, there speaking about the Russian vaccine. Well, and let's look elsewhere in the world when it comes to coronavirus. After going 102 days without any new cases of COVID-19, New Zealand has a small new outbreak, and its largest city is going back into full lockdown.
As of 12 noon tomorrow, Wednesday, August 12th, we will be moving Auckland to level 3 restrictions for a period of 3 days.
That's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. She also banned large public gatherings and ordered social distancing in the rest of New Zealand, a nation which had returned to normal life. It's all because of 4 members of a family in Auckland with no travel history. They've all tested positive for the coronavirus, and several residents of a retirement village in another city are displaying symptoms. Well, there's a new unofficial biography on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and it came out today. The book Finding Freedom is shedding light on the couple's controversial exit from the royal family. It also has new details about the tensions between Prince Harry, his brother Prince William, and between their wives, Meghan and Kate. Renee Filipponi has the details from London.
Moments before walking in front of the cameras at their engagement photo op, Meghan whispers in Harry's ear, "You got this." It's details like this the book's authors say they uncovered from interviews with 100 sources close to the royal family.
This was a couple that was really on the receiving end of some coverage that seemed so far from reality, and many of the people around them wanted to have a chance to set the record straight.
The book describes Prince William as unsupportive of Harry and Meghan's relationship, revealing that early on he told Harry to take it slow with, quote, "this girl." It also says Meghan was disappointed Kate didn't have her back.
This was a couple that really weren't afraid to share their grievances about what was going on. They felt that they didn't have enough support.
This royal correspondent was surprised by the level of detail in the book, like the kind of emojis Harry would send Meghan, and that the couple fired a nanny in the middle of the night.
This is a couple who are so fiercely protective of their privacy to the point where, they're currently litigating on multiple fronts.
The UK media have been comparing it to a much more explosive biography written about Princess Diana in 1992, disclosing her eating disorder and infidelity. It was revealed years later the author had been interviewing her in private. The Sussexes say they did not contribute to the book, but royal watchers say it will add friction to the family anyway.
It's not going to do anything to heal pretty deep wounds over Megxit and Harry and Meghan leaving the royal family to go to America.
The book references a private conversation between the Queen and Harry, where she reportedly made it clear they were always welcome to return to their royal duties. But it appears, at least for now, they have moved on to their next chapter. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
A tribute to a well-known music teacher in Corner Brook who died last year. That's still ahead on Here and Now. Welcome back to Here and Now. If you've never heard of Mario Rigby, prepare to be impressed. The Toronto man is a former professional athlete who's now a dedicated explorer, author, and public speaker. He's spent years inspiring others to get out, to be brave, and see the world. His latest mission? A whole lot closer to home than usual. Kelda Yoon has this story.
So every year I try to do a big challenge. Before I started this expedition, I didn't even know how to ride or paddle a sea kayak.
But after 20 days and 355 kilometers, some bad weather,
A lot of really rainy and windy days.
and a few bumps along the way,
So I had to eject myself from the kayak.
Mario Rigby made it from Hamilton to his final destination in the Thousand Islands just in time for sunset.
After all these storms, it was almost like the most beautiful ending you could have.
Rigby has always been up for a challenge. He has cycled across Canada
I'm on the Trans-Canada Trail.
and trekked by foot from Cape Town to Cairo, the 12,000-kilometer African journey spanning more than 2 years. This time around, it was a conscious decision to stay closer to home.
I wanted to show people that you can have an adventure and a big adventure in your own backyard.
His journey also meant to raise awareness and money for the Toronto charity My Stand, which provides recreational activities for at-risk youth, many who don't readily have access to outdoor spaces.
I come from a background as well where, I wasn't exactly privileged and, I face a lot of poverty as well. So I get and I understand where they're coming from.
As a Black explorer in the outdoors, he's also aware he's often seen as a rarity. Rigby hopes his outdoor explorations will help encourage more inclusivity.
The more diversity you have in the outdoors, the more people you have involved in exploration, discovery of nature, the more people care about nature.
Up next, Rigby is headed to BC to raise awareness on how climate change is affecting coastal regions. Further down the road, he's aiming to be the first person to drive all the way around Africa in a pure electric vehicle. Kelda Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, if you've had your fill of Netflix during the pandemic, you can watch a new show tonight on what could be the original big screen. Ashley talked about it earlier. The annual Perseid meteor shower is expected to reach its peak overnight. NASA says it's sure to be one of the best meteor showers of the year, with 50 to 100 fireballs per hour streaking their way through the sky. Ashley, is it actually going to be clear across the province to be able to see it? That's usually the biggest challenge.
That's right, and it does look like most of us will see beautiful weather tonight, certainly in the east, along the south and west coast, a little hit or miss, but at some point we should all be able to see, at least on the island, up to the Big Land, northern portions, more than likely in the west through the night tonight. But just before, or earlier I should say, I tried to share a weather photo with you. Let's take a look at that. This was sent in by Travis. This is this morning's sunrise near Roddickton, and even last night we had a beautiful sunset as well. And overnight tonight, like I said, nice weather. As we head through the day tomorrow, things are going to get a little bit more unsettled through the day, certainly in the west with the risk of some thunderstorms. And the heat will continue for the majority of us. We won't see it cool down really until we head into midweek and then through the weekend, and then eventually those temperatures will come back up. So if you have a photo to share with us, maybe if you capture one tonight and you go out and see the meteor shower, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca and we'll be sure to get them on the show.
Thank you very much, Ashley.
Of course.
Friends and family of and students rather, of a former music teacher in Corner Brook are remembering him this week with a new video. Gary Graham died last summer at the age of 73.
This is a community award, and I thank the community.
This is Graham back in 2013, accepting an honorary degree from Memorial University. Graham had spent 50 years teaching music to children, becoming a mentor and a friend to many in the community. He was also a well-known organist and choral director, and dedicated much of his time with the Gross Mourne Summer Music, as well as the Rotary Club. To mark what would have been Graham's birthday, some of his former students put together a tribute for him. We're going to leave you with that tonight. Thanks for watching.